you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you are new to the channel, I am Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we are in the brand new 2026 Toyota Corolla Hybrid, courtesy of Younger Toyota in Hagerstown, Maryland. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. And so today we're in this one because this thing gets you 50 plus miles per gallon, which is insane. Stellar reliability, of course. All-wheel drive is available. We actually have all-wheel drive on this particular Corolla Hybrid we have with us here today. So I'm gonna take it in the snow, not to do anything crazy, but I just want to see if it actually gets through it. So we're gonna try that. Also, you get 2 years or 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance then as well. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. So as you can imagine, there are a few different trim levels for the 2026 Corolla Hybrid. You got the LE starting at $24,775. SE, which actually is the one we are in today, going for $27,215. And then the XLE starting at $29,140. Now, this next part I want you to pay attention here. That XLE trim level only comes with front wheel drive. You cannot get all-wheel drive on that, but the first two trim levels, you can get all-wheel drive. If you wanted to do that, simply add $1,400 then to either of those prices. But regardless of the trim level that you go with, the power plant on the Corolla Hybrid is going to be the same. Powering the beast is a 1.8 liter naturally aspirated inline 4-cylinder with 2 electric motors, puts out 138 horsepower, 105 pound-feet of torque. Power sent to the front wheels are all wheels through a CVT. 0 to 60 time is going to come in at approximately 9 seconds flat. With MPG numbers, here it comes: 53 in the city, 46 on the highway for the front wheel drive, 47 city, 41 then on the highway for the all-wheel drive, taking regular unleaded fuel. You gotta appreciate that. So anyways, before we do any kind of fun acceleration test here in the Corolla Hybrid, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. Drive modes, by the way, only come on the SE trim level that we have with us here today. That's the only way you're going to get them, but it's a silver toggle switch located just in front of the shifter. Drive modes will include Eco, Normal, Sport, and EV, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, and the steering sensitivity. So now having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find it straight away. Let's put the acceleration here to the test, and let's see how quickly we can get our new 2026 Corolla Hybrid here up to speed. All right, got it in sport driving mode. Found her straight away in 3, 2, 1. Wow. Great initial get up and go. And now it's probably gonna be slow. It's not bad. All right, craziness at the very beginning. That initial get up and go with the 2 electric motors is absolutely brilliant. It's almost as if it's full EV at the very beginning. Well, kind of is, but still, it's a crazy good acceleration for like zipping around city streets. This thing's gonna like lunge you in the back of your seat, and then it's gonna go really slow as the gasoline powered engine kicks in, because it's not that much horsepower and torque. 0 to 60 in 9 seconds flat is not the quickest. So don't be drag racing anybody, but it's really good at the initial get up and go. The peppiness, I guess you could call it, is really, really good. So I didn't mind that, believe it or not. And it's definitely not something you should worry about merging onto the highway with or anything like that. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So up front, you will find 10.8-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 10.2-inch solid rear discs. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, comes in at 125 feet as far as braking feel goes. It's fine. It's pretty much par for the course. It feels like 125 feet. It's definitely not a firm braking feel, but it's not a soft braking feel either. It's really right where this car should be. So definitely don't have any issues with that. Then touching on suspension and handling, up front you're going to get an independent McPherson strut front suspension. In the back, independent multi-link rear suspension, front stabilizer bar then as well. Overall, as far as ride quality goes, that's really where the Corolla Hybrid and the Corolla in general really shines compared to the competition. For whatever reason, Toyota has tuned the ride quality to be really, really good. It's a very smooth ride compared to the other compact cars in its class. I'll put it that way. Especially, you compare this to like a Civic, it's night and day. You can feel everything with that Civic, whereas this absorbs so much of the road imperfections. It really is a very nice ride. And typically what I say is the Corolla has the best ride quality in its class, and it's definitely no exception with the Corolla Hybrid. So obviously, But anyways, then touching on steering feel, I actually have it in eco driving mode right now. So let's go ahead and flip it back to sport. I just want to see how much of a difference it makes, and it does. Very heavy weight to the steering when you have it in that sport driving mode. I love it. And then when you put it in normal or eco, it definitely instantly loosens up that steering feel. More of a loosey-goosey feel then. So something for everybody, so you gotta appreciate that. Then touching on cabin noise, we're going 57 miles per hour right now, so this is probably the perfect test. I'll be quiet here for a second. You get a little bit of engine noise when you really get on it, like we're going up a mountain right now, but other than that, it's definitely plenty serene for me. It's nothing that would bother me. And honestly, the engine noise I kind of like, but I'm a car guy, so it's definitely not something that would bother me. But then taking a look at rear visibility, looking out my rear view mirror here, I can see perfectly fine out the back. And typically a shape like this, you're not gonna have any issues with rear visibility. But let's now go ahead and take this thing in the snow. You guys probably saw some of the shots already, and let's check out the exterior now of our brand new 2026 Toyota Corolla Hybrid. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2026 Toyota Corolla Hybrid, finished in underground if you wanted our exact exterior color name. But as always, let's go ahead and start with where the Corolla Hybrid is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the letter J, indicating that this one is built and assembled in Japan, as it should be. But starting up front, you're going to get a more aggressive front fascia for the SE trim level. To the sides, LED headlights with LED daytime running lights. Get the automatic feature with those. You also get automatic high beams. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams, and when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up the high beams for you there. So very convenient. And LED accent lighting for the SE trim level only. You guys can see those down below. So again, the LE and the XLE, they're going to look a little bit different in the front here. So that pretty much rounds out the front end. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so now since we are around to the side of this one, body colored power adjustable side mirrors with integrated turn signals actually do come standard for all trim levels across the board. Then take a look down at the wheel setup. 16-inch steel wheels with covers for that LE trim level, 16-inch alloys for the XLE, and then the largest 18-inch graphite colored alloys for our SE trim level. And of course, you guys can see that all-wheel drive badging found in the bottom portion of those rear doors. That's going to be, of course, if the Corolla Hybrid you have is equipped with all-wheel drive. But that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of this one, starting all the way to the top, you got a body colored shark fin antenna, body colored rear lip spoiler as well, but that's just going to be for the SE trim level in case you wanted that. Got some trim level badging found on the rear trunk in case you were curious where that was located. LED taillights do come standard on this one. You get a gloss black rear diffuser for the SE trim level only, and then just below it all, you guys can see there is a single exhaust outlet, but with dual chrome tips for the SE trim level only. Otherwise, that exhaust is going to be tucked away. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. Alright, so now since we are around to the back of this one, when it comes to opening that rear trunk, there is a button on the key fob. There, of course, is a rubberized button on the trunk itself then as well. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 13.1 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, there's a 60-40 split, meaning the rear seats do fold down for quite a bit of extra space then if you needed it. Got some LED cargo lighting found back there. You gotta appreciate that. There's a tire inflator kit then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor. I wish it would have been a spare tire, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and make our way up to the rear legroom. That comes in at 34.8 inches. For reference, I am an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the rear seats there. Rear center armrest with cup holders does come standard for all trim levels across the board, and you actually get dual rear USB charging ports also coming standard for all trim levels across the board. That isn't always the case on the competition, so I had to emphasize that a little bit, but no rear ventilation. None of the competition has that either. So then making our way up to the front seats, manually adjustable cloth seating for that LE trim level, sport fabric inserts for our SE trim level that we have with us here today. There's going to be an 8-way power driver's seat for the XLE trim level. Then that XLE is also going to add to that heated front seats and Softex upholstery, aka leatherette, as well. So overall, as far as seat comfort goes, incredibly comfortable seats, especially in our SE trim level. I don't mind the cloth and the manually adjustable seats because they did a wonderful job with the seat comfort here. So definitely no issues there. But Let's now go ahead and take a look at the steering wheel. It is tilt and telescoping. It is leather wrapped for the SE and the XLE trim level. And the LE is going to be wrapped in urethane, of course. Then make your way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key here. You got lock, unlock, the button to pop the trunk, and the Toyota logo, of course. But it is all keyless entry with a push button start if you go with the SE or the XLE trim levels. Otherwise, it's going to be a turnkey start for that LE trim level. So in our case, all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button located kind of by the driver's right knee there. And so once started up, when it comes to the gauge cluster, there's two different clusters here. You're going to get analog gauges with a 4.2-inch screen for the LE trim level, but the SE and XLE trims are going to give you a 7-inch digital gauge cluster, and that's what you guys are looking at right now. The only real customization with it is when you change the drive mode for our SE trim level here, it changes the colors a little bit. So if I were to put it in sport, you're going to get some red hues. Normal is going to be blue, and then eco is going to be green. Other than that, I wouldn't have minded a bit more customization to that. Of course, you could scroll what is displayed up there by using the steering wheel mount controls found on the left side of the steering wheel. Got things like how many miles you have left until you hit empty. There's your outside temperature, time of the day, pretty much everything you could possibly need up there though. But then making our way to overall interior quality, a power moonroof is going to come on the XLE trim level. It's going to be optional on our SE, an option we don't have with us here today, unfortunately. You know what's interesting though? I don't see the red contrast stitching anymore that was previously found on the SE trim level. I think they did away with that and made it kind of like this black and white and gray theme, I guess. So yeah, the red contrast stitching is gone for the SE trim level. Home light controls are going to be optional for this one. LED interior lighting does come standard, and that looks pretty darn good up there. Wireless phone charger is going to be optional as well. It's an option we do not have with us here today. Just in front of the shifter though, instead of the wireless phone charger, you got a little bit of storage there. Everything surrounding the shifter is going to be finished in a gloss black, which I personally prefer, and everything behind that, the cup holders, is going to be finished in a matte black. And then within the center armrest, there's an okay amount of storage. Not a ton of storage though, but there is a 12-volt power outlet and a USB charging port within that center armrest too, so I did like that. Also like the silver door handles. They could have left that in matte black plastic, but they did finish it in a nice silver finish. I kind of like that. So overall, it certainly gets the job done. I'll just put it that way. But then making our way to the infotainment screen, what you guys are looking at is an 8-inch infotainment screen. You get Bluetooth and audio streaming, wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You can check out your vehicle statistics up there, as well as your radio information. So when it comes to the sound system, it's really just one of them. You get 6 speakers for all trim levels. But there is an optional 9-speaker JBL sound system that goes for $600 if you wanted that. Not an option we have with us here today. So let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today, and let's test out our 6-speaker sound system we have with us here today. I've always said this, Toyota does a pretty darn good job with their 6-speaker sound systems. A lot of the competition don't sound this good. So it's okay. It's an okay sound system for sure. And if you did like music, they got the JBL sound system available for you as well. But last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on that infotainment screen at least is when you do put the Corolla Hybrid in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard across the board. It does take up the entire screen. It does make that little chiming sound as well when you put it in reverse, so people know you are in reverse since this is a hybrid. But that is always going to lead us into safety. And so starting with the best part, this thing is an IIHS top safety pick, so wonderful start right there. Front side curtain airbags do come standard. You get a driver's knee airbag up front as well. Front passenger seat cushion airbag and rear side impact airbag. So that's a ton of airbags right there. Also in the back, you got latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. That gives you a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, proactive driving assist, lane departure alert with steering assist, road sign assist, and dynamic radar cruise control then as well. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts of the Corolla Hybrid, of course, excellent reliability. In typical Toyota fashion there, you can expect that. Great MPGs. I think I ended up averaging right around 45 miles per gallon, so right in the middle of what it said I would get. So nothing wrong with that being an all-wheel drive vehicle. Also nice ride quality for a compact. I stand by that. I love that all-wheel drive is available for a compact car in general. I think that's pretty cool because that isn't always the case. As far as what particular trim level I would get, here's the way I would think of this one. If you wanted to get the Corolla Hybrid, I I would go with either the LE or the SE trim level, because once you get to the XLE, for one, you can't get all-wheel drive, and two, you're at the same price point now as the Toyota Prius, which is a lot faster, a lot more performance-oriented car with the same and better MPGs. So at that point, I wouldn't get the XLE, I'd get the Prius. But for the LE and the SE, you're still decently less expensive than the Prius, and that might be worth it. So let me know if you guys would get a Corolla Hybrid in the comments section below. That's about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media stuff at the bottom of the screen if you want to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what I've been doing for 12 years now. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.